Well, welcome back. Let's bring in our panel right now to talk about this weekend's stunning convention vote. Here with us in studio, we have former state party chair for the Indiana Democrats, Robin Winston, 2016 vice chair for the Indiana Trump campaign, Tony Samuel, and two former state lawmakers. For the Democrats, former state rep Terry Austin, and for the Republicans, former state rep Mike Murphy. Great to have you here with us today. Mike, I'll start with you. Does this stunning vote, what does it mean for the Braun campaign and for this year's race for governor more broadly?
Well, I don't think it means anything for the race for governor. I think Mike Braun is still going to whip Jennifer McCormick by 10 or 20 points. It really doesn't matter. But it does say something about how divided the party is. The state party, what I would call the establishment, was so smug this past week. And when I asked, why did you have to get the Trump endorsement? They said, we didn't need it. It's just one more, nail in the coffin of Micah Beckwith. But somehow he popped those nails out of the coffin and embarrassed everybody. The Braun campaign's challenge now is their instinct would be to try to control him. You can't do that. You have to give him some leeway, let him name his own chief of staff, things like that, and try to work with him, because it's not a mistake now. It's a movement. I mean, there's been 2 or 3 state conventions in a row where the establishment has clearly lost.
It's going to be very interesting. Terry, what's your reaction here from across the aisle, and to what extent does this give the McCormick campaign something of an opportunity to paint the Braun Beckwith ticket as too extreme?
Well, my reaction is this was an upset. I think they were pretty confident that they were going to win. When I say they, the Braun campaign. And as Mike said, this is not the first time this happened at a convention. What I think it does for the McCormick campaign is it makes her an even more viable and attractive candidate. I want to say to all the women out there who think that maybe there is no place for them in the Republican Party because another one was just kicked to the curb, come try out the Democratic Party, see what we stand for.
Tony, you were there at the convention. I want to ask you about that and also about this Trump endorsement that came late in the week. It didn't matter in the end, really. Does that surprise you?
No, it doesn't surprise me, because the folks that support Micah also support Trump now. So you would think, okay, it's going to take some votes away from him. But really, I think they saw through it. They know that Trump doesn't know Julie McGuire, doesn't know Micah Beckwith. But this was more of a political need by the Braun.
They did the Braun campaign a favor.
Yeah, exactly.
That didn't work in the end.
But this isn't them turning away from Trump. It's that because they're aligned with Trump, America First issues, policy, and that's the key here. Micah was a great candidate, will be a great lieutenant governor. Both Micah and Mike Braun afterwards said the right thing, set the right tone about working together and moving the party forward together. But the key here was that it's the policy, it's the issues that these people care about, not just in Indiana. Obviously, this is a movement across the country.
Robin, what's your response to what Tony said there and to this stunning vote in general that we saw on Saturday?
It's stunning. I mean, it's a clear repudiation of Mike Braun by his own party. I mean, he's the one that rolled this woman out one day after being elected as the nominee, and they rejected her. They brought in Donald J. Trump, the convicted felon, to endorse her, and that didn't work because they repudiated them. And keep in mind, folks, 26% of the people in Indiana did not vote for Donald Trump in their own party's primary. And then today, their party hierarchy did not go with the candidate that he endorsed. So Representative Austin is exactly right. If you're a female voter out there, remember, they also have no women on their ticket at the top of the party. None, 0 at this point and anywhere in their top offices. Keep that in mind.
Let's talk more about former President Trump here. He visited Capitol Hill this past week. He also made news speaking virtually to a religious organization that's seeking an outright ban on abortion, which gathered here in Indiana this week. The former president telling them he stood side by side with them, though he didn't use the word abortion specifically. The Southern Baptist Convention here in Indy also making news this week opposing IVF treatments. Now, while former President Trump awaits sentencing on his criminal conviction this week, President Biden's son Hunter Biden was also convicted on criminal charges related to the purchase of a gun. President Biden saying, quote, "I will accept the outcome of this case and respect the judicial process," as Hunter considers an appeal. So a lot happening in the race for president, too. Let's talk about it now with the panel. Mike, will these convictions matter to voters? Hunter Biden, obviously not a candidate himself. Donald Trump is. This abortion and IVF issue, also one that seems to be poised to stay in the news this year.
Well, a couple things. First of all, it shows that the legal system is fair. It does work for everybody, especially when you have peers, average Americans actually sitting on the juries and making those decisions. The great hypocrisy, the chameleon nature of these national pundits who are blaming, saying in the Trump trial it was terribly politically motivated. And then on the Hunter Biden trial, they said, well, my gosh, the courts really work. I mean, it's in the same people. They put them back to back and play them. It is ludicrous. I don't know why anybody pays attention to them.
Terry, how do you see all these issues fitting into all the narratives going around nationally ahead of this presidential election?
Well, I think the conviction of former President Trump will peel off some votes. I mean, I think that's going to continue to resonate, and how he chooses to handle himself, moving forward. As far as the Hunter Biden, let me just say this. Nobody said the trial was unfair. Nobody said it was stacked against him. People respect the rule of law, or in this particular case, the president, his family, others. And I will also say there isn't an elected official's family or candidate's family who does not have some issue or history of addiction. People understand how gripping it can become for people. And I'm hoping that people don't see this as this is not an issue of the president, it's a disease.
30 seconds for each of you here. Do any of these events of this past week move the needle for any voters?
Maybe a little bit, folks that are in that independent category, a little bit. But I think what's happening with Trump, every time they go after him, his support gets stronger. I think that's going to continue. With Hunter Biden, that was an open and shut case. The evidence was on his laptop. It just took a long time for that laptop to become a real thing in some people's eyes.
Robin?
I think older voters are going to move towards the president. I think they're tired of all. Look, they grew up respecting democracy. That's not being demonstrated now. As far as it relates to the president, remember he lost people in Iraq. He lost his son to brain cancer. This has also had a heavy toll on him, but he didn't go around blaming the jury. They're not searching him down, not trying to blame the judge. He did it the way that he respects the judicial system.
All right, the panel's going to be back coming up in just a few minutes. Coming up next, we'll talk with Governor Eric Holcomb about the Economic Development Corporation's budget request and what it means for the controversial LEAP district. That's next.